Hey guys, happy Monday, live from Phoenix. We apologize for last week. Things last week just did not pan out the way that we anticipated. So we are so excited to come back this week with an amazing topic that I think everyone needs to hear. So we will just give it a minute for Shakti to hop on, and then we will go from there. People to hop on too. Can I just say that I am loving the lighting in this place? Like, having this natural light right here is amazing for video, for pictures, everything. If you're watching the replay, feel free to fast forward. I know she said she was ready, so we'll just give it a minute for her to hop on. Hopefully Mercury retrograde doesn't fuck with the technology tonight. Might be the longest it's ever taken, guys. And like, I can show up and just ramble shit when I know that I'm showing up alone, but when I show up and I'm like ready for someone to join me, I'm like, I'm trying to think if there are any stories that I can tell you. I mean, I've had lots of stories from the road, but I've been in Phoenix for the last week. I got here on Tuesday, so a week, and I'm staying for at least another week. My next place is booked through Sunday, but I am setting the intention to stay a little bit longer. It's funny though, a lot of people have been asking me, like, there she is. Shakti, I love how you always show up like right when I'm like in the middle of saying something. I'm always like, okay. I'm like, she's not on yet. Let me just start talking, and then like you pop up. Hey.
Yo. What up?
And so this is like the longest it's ever taken. So I was like, let me just start talking. So I start talking about my time in Phoenix, right? And then I'm like, I start to get into a groove, and then you pop up, and I'm like, all right, whatever. We'll finish. Well, everyone will have a cliffhanger. What's happening next on Anne's journey? Who knows?
We don't know.
Tune in next week.
I'm over here like I was finishing up CEU enrollments for my massage license because I'm like, shit, I gotta take some classes so I can keep my license. Forgot it's that year. Gotta do it.
Yeah, that's important. You should do that. Take classes and shit.
Yeah, learn shit. I'm taking them all in 1 week too. My brain's gonna explode.
Oh my god. How many classes are you taking?
It's 2, but it's like 28 hours worth of like lessons. But it's cool stuff that I'm learning, which I'm going to be learning some more table tie, which is really exciting. How to do more Thai massage on a table, which I really wanted to learn how to translate because I don't always have a mat, and so that was kind of important for me to learn how to do. And then I'm doing this like, it's like manual manipulation, like not chiropractic work, but sort of like that, but for body workers within my scope of practice. So I'm really excited about that because learning how to align the body is something that I'm really into. So Like,
awesome.
I'm pumped about what I'm going to learn. I'm just like, I gotta go pay for all this shit and enroll. Otherwise, I have to like have a new license by Halloween. And I'm like, it's pushing it. We're pushing it.
That's funny.
So, no.
All right, let me share this shit out.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Can
Hey
we
guys.
also talk about the fact how fast my hair grows? Like all of a sudden it's like poofy, and I'm like, I gotta tame this shit. It's just like
Same. Same. My hair grows so damn fast. Thank God I work with my stylist, so like she'll look at me and she'll be like, "You need a haircut. Like you're done.
God.
You need a haircut." Yes.
Lindsay found me someone here who she knows who does like shape but also designs. So I may be doing I may be doing something fun. We'll see. But yeah, I'm like, this poof is not working for me.
Yeah, I understand the poof. It's back here though. I got poof in the back.
I also love how like today when I showered, my thought was, I don't remember the last time I washed my hair. Like, I don't know what day I'm on anymore. That's like, we're just going to dry shampoo it up again today.
I feel you.
I'm like, if it's
Today's
not
a really good
down,
topic.
I know, right?
Today's a really good topic. I feel like this is a really important conversation piece. I feel like I'm having this conversation with like our whole team and like everyone. Like literally everyone.
Yep.
And it comes up a lot in the fitness thing, like a lot, being in fitness and being, watching people kind of cycle in and out of consistency with fitness, and saying that something doesn't work that actually does work, but the reason it doesn't work is because they're not working it.
Right.
I get to the point where I'm like tired of having the same conversation. I'm like, how many times am I going to have that one conversation? The same conversation every time.
We always have too much fun, Anna. Always. Am I blurred out again today, guys? Do I have a microphone over my face again?
No, but you're frozen on my stream.
Damn it. This is like, and the Wi-Fi's totally been working for everything else that we're going to blame Mercury retrograde on this one.
I cannot see anything. Well, now I can see Anna's on, but I can't see her comment.
Yeah, on my computer, there's like nothing. It's like blurry and then a microphone on my screen or like a speaker. So you guys will get to hear me today. You won't get to see the poof.
No poof. Bad.
No poof. Oh well.
And then it's always like me just talking to myself. Like it always ends up being just me being the animated one on the screen. Which is kind of hilarious to me because I'm naturally really animated. So it's funny to me that like I'm like the puppet, like always left here just hanging out.
Maybe it's that you're so animated that like the screen can't handle both of us.
Mercury retrograde just explodes our phones. Like, I'm sorry. That one has way too much sass. We need to stop working.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
The internet can't handle us, bitches. What can I say?
We broke the internet. We break it every time.
All the time.
True. So this topic is really, it's funny because again, Ann and I didn't really like talk about this topic, and then today she was like, I feel like we should talk about this, and I was like, game. Let's talk about that, because I feel like this has been something in both Ann and my life. Like, it's been there for a while, this conversation of consistency and what it yields. But I feel like in these past couple months, it's been like amplified. Like, it really came to the forefront of the power of being consistent with anything in our lives. And, you know, we happen to be in fitness. Like, fitness is a huge part of our life and a huge part of our work. And so talking about consistency is something that comes up all the freaking time with our clients. And we're also on the same team and we mentor other coaches. So we talk about consistency when it comes to business building as well, because we have so many different levels of people coming into this business Some of them have business backgrounds, some of them do not. Some of them don't understand what it's like to run a business. Because truth of the matter is, no matter what model the business holds, consistency is going to be a key factor in whether or not your business is going to be successful. It doesn't really matter whether it's a virtual business, a brick and mortar business, any kind of business. So I feel like this topic has been really coming up with us, for us, super hard. And I'm glad that you brought it up to talk about. Hi, guys. I see you hopping on. Hi, Mercy. Hi, Eddie. Hi, Julie. Hi, Anna. Just want to say hi to you guys. Hi, Shay.
Lindsay's on also.
Yay. Hey, Lindsay. Your names are out of order, so I have no idea when y'all joined. Hi, Jessica. Hi, Amy. My phone's all jacked up.
Well,
anyways, you want to share why you wanted to talk about this?
So this came up in our own personal lives, I don't know, earlier this week, I guess, when so Shakti and I were watching a webinar by someone who we follow in business. And the day after, I was just kind of reflecting to her, and I was like, so what the main thing that was talked about was that the guy who was doing this webinar was basically saying that he decided that when he started his business, he was going to like put his head down, not look at if it was working, how far he was going or anything like that for 5 years. He was going to give it 5 years of going balls to the wall, putting in everything that he had. And then if at the end of the 5 years shit wasn't working, then he would like give himself an out, right? Like, okay, this, maybe you suck. Maybe you're not meant for this. Then I'll, it only took him 2 years and he was very successful. And so I was just reflecting to Shakti because I was like, I hear what he's saying and I totally agree with it, right? And for me, and my own personal story, I have felt like I'm at like 4.5 years in business, not where I want to be, not failing by any means, but not where I want to be. Like, I'll be totally honest with you guys. And so I'm like listening to this webinar and I'm like, so what does that mean for me? Does it mean that I have 6 more months and then I reevaluate? Does it mean that when is my start date? Is my start date when I started in 2014 and, March 2014? Is my start date when I joined back with Beachbody in March of 2018, even though I didn't start really working in the business until May of 2018? But like, I wasn't a newbie. I wasn't a newbie when I joined. I'd been in business for almost 5 years already, And so I was just looking at or reflecting upon what he was saying and like, okay, how do I take this and apply it to my own life? And with Shakti, like she's had multiple businesses. She's had brick and mortar businesses. She's had online businesses. And so what does this mean for her? Like, even though she's been in coaching for 2.5 years, she is not new to business. And so what does that mean? Where do we start to measure our own success? And what she said to me, which I think was really important, was she was like, I was not consistent for the entire 2.5 years. And so she's like, it wasn't until I really started becoming consistent at the beginning of 2018, like my business really started at the beginning of 2018. And so when she said that to me, I was like, okay, yeah. So no, I'm not a newbie in business. I've been in business for a hot minute and I know what the fuck I'm doing. But there were a lot of limiting beliefs that I had to really overcome. And there were a lot of upper limits that I was hitting over and over and over and over again. And so I really had to look at, when did my business actually begin? And can I allow myself to not completely scrap everything that I've done for the last 4.5 years, but can I give myself a little bit of grace and time and realize that I learned a lot in the last 4.5 years, and my business really began as far as what I really want it to be, how it's developed and evolved over time, in May of 2018. And in that regard, if it really began in May of 2018, then I'm doing fucking awesome, first of all.
I'm owning this shit.
First of all. And now I can take from May 2018, now I give myself 5 years. And I give myself 5 years of consistency. And I give myself 5 years of really, truly like putting nose to the grindstone, really implementing grit and all of that, right? And really seeing how far I can go. So that's really kind of where the topic came from.
And Josh Coates, he's a John Maxwell coach. He's he spoke at the yearly conference that I attend. He was there for an event called The Power of I Am, and he spoke, and he just lit me up, dude. Like, I remember when he came on stage, he came with all this, like, energy to the stage, and he started talking, and I was like, I realized in that moment how the single defining factor between succeeding at freaking anything or failing at it or stopping and starting and stopping and starting 1,000 times was literally grit, was literally your consistency with the thing, your capacity to stick to something even when it's inconvenient. And I had this moment, this epiphany while I was sitting there where I was like, not that I had never heard that before, but it's like suddenly I realized it didn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how talented you are. It doesn't matter how extroverted you are or how introverted you are or how much experience you have or if you've ever had a business or you've never had one or if you have money or if you don't, or it literally nothing matters except are you consistent? That's it. That is it. The one thing that creates success in anything is are you consistent? And I look at my health journey, for example. I have come such a long way physically in my body. From 2.5 years ago when I was weighing 174 pounds and I was the heaviest I had ever been and depressed and anxious, and today I have the fittest body I've ever had in my life. A body that I look at in the mirror and feel nothing but extreme appreciation for, and a body that I created through intensive consistency, but never pressure and force. It was always about how can I be better? How can I nourish better? How can I show up for me more? And to look in the mirror and to see what I see now and to feel what I feel about her now and know that I did that only through consistency, not because I was genetically more inclined to look a certain way, not because I punished myself to look a certain way, not because I was lucky, or it was just sheer consistency, is one of the most empowering things I have ever done in my entire life. And it made me want to cry. I mean, recently I walked by the mirror at my job and I looked at myself and I just got super emotional. And I was like, that's the power of consistency. That right there, what I'm seeing in the mirror is the power of me making the choice day in and day out to show up for me, to believe in myself a little bit more than I believed in myself the day before. And I feel the same way about our team. I look at our coach team and how much it's grown in just the past year, where I've been really, not even a year, the beginning of this year is when I got really insanely consistent. And I look at where we are now and the coaches that we've brought into our team and the energy in the team. And I'm like, holy balls, that's amazing. Amazing. It's just one of the most moving things I've ever experienced, and that was only the result of me being consistent and reaching out to people that I loved, and my team being consistent and reaching out to people that they loved, and it happened because of consistency.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was reading Anna's comment, and I would love to. You said it's hard when I'm doing new things all the time, and I would like for you to expand on what does that mean? You're doing new things, like trying new workouts, doing new things in life. Like what is preventing you from being consistent is really what my question is. And the way that Shakti talks about her fitness, I was reflecting on this with her also about our own personal growth, right? Like Shakti and I, again, have been working on our own mindset. Okay, I can talk to you about that, Anna, because I am a nomad. So I can speak to that in just a minute. So we have been on our own personal growth journey for a very long time, right? And it hasn't been until very recently that I think that both of us feel like we're really making headway in changing our mind, like really truly changing our mind. And I see this a lot with a variety of clients, and a lot of times potential clients who are like, I want to work with you, but I've tried this, and this, and it hasn't worked. Okay, but my question is, how many things have you actually tried and implemented consistently? Because a lot of you out there, and I was one of them for a very long time, I was reading the books, I was listening to the podcast, I was taking the courses, I was working with the coaches, I was doing all the things, but I wasn't applying it, so I was becoming like this information hoarder, and I was just like, I have all the information, so clearly I should just like change through osmosis, or
pen drop. I don't have a mic, so I'm just gonna drop my pen repeatedly,
or
over and over again. Because everything you're saying is everything everyone is doing.
Right.
And when they say it doesn't work, it's because of what Anne is saying.
It's because you haven't done it. You haven't fucking done it.
Exactly.
Like, you did it for like a week and you're like, shit didn't change, so I'm going to go back to my old ways. And honestly, like, having support and accountability on your personal growth, it is so easy to fucking back out of shit that's uncomfortable. Because change is uncomfortable, guys. Changing anything in your life is really fucking uncomfortable. And so when you try it for a week and then you hit that wall, you hit that upper limit, you hit it, right? Then it's like, oh, well, I'm going to back away. And then, oh, shit got uncomfortable, therefore it didn't work. No, it's not that it didn't work. It's that you didn't work. You didn't work it.
That's right.
You did not work it. So, Anna, I want to respond to you. You said moving with the RV every couple of weeks and trying to figure out a consistent way to work out my body. Small space, getting a workout before the kids wake up is hard because I'll wake them up and they need sleep, and being able to honor my house as well as myself. So I'm a nomad. I live on the road. And now, granted, I don't have children. I have 2 cats. They wake me up. I don't have to worry about waking them up when I work out. I don't often have large spaces to work out. But the one way that I'm able to stay consistent with my workouts, and I have for the last 4.5 years, is through Beachbody On Demand. Like,
yep.
I take my gym is on my computer or my phone. So I literally work out anywhere. I choose to travel with weights. You don't have to. You can travel with a resistance band. But that is how I stay consistent. It doesn't matter how much space I have, because as long as I have the space of a yoga mat, I'm good. Like, any workout I do, as long as I have the space of a workout mat, I'm good. As far as waking your children up, you can go outside.
I can speak to the kid thing because mom of a toddler.
Yeah.
Anna, we've talked extensively about the whole being a parent thing and you moving and stuff. That's all part of it. But when I started, my kid was awake, and for the first entire year of me being a coach, and I also use Beachbody On Demand because you can take it everywhere and it's really easy to stay with a program. I did it while he was awake, and guess what? I had to stop and start like 1,000 times. Like, a 30-minute workout took me a full hour, if not more. And I did it anyway. Because I needed to get it done, because it was important to me. And my kids would climb on me. My kid would climb on me. My cat was needing me. My dog is huge, and we lived in a tiny apartment. And like, he was in every one of my workout videos because half of his body was like the living room space. So I couldn't get away from my kid being up or my dog being in the video or things of that nature, right? And I just had to make it work. And like Anne said, if I had a yoga mat space, then that was all I needed. I just talked to one of my new coaches today. We were on a call before this podcast, and I was like, girl, when I started, I had one adjustable weight, like that was like a 5 pound to like a 15 pound range. And instead of being able to do reps with 2 weights, like the program called for, I literally have to cut my reps in half. So I'd be doing like 5 on one side, and then I would switch sides and do 5 on the other. I did that for like all of Hammer and Chisel, which is like a 60-day program. I did that with 1 weight until I could afford to buy a second weight. Anybody else would have been like, I can't do this program. I'll have 2 weights. I was like, fuck that. I'm going to do this program even if I have 1 weight. I'm going to make that work. Right? Yep. And that's because I just made a decision. I'm reading your comment right now.
I will also say that when I started, I was living in an apartment in Chicago. I was married at the time. I was living in an apartment in Chicago. The living room was fucking small. So basically, the living room and kitchen and dining room were like all in one, but it was tiny. Like, you couldn't, not everyone could sit at the table because that's how small the place was, right? And in order to have space to work out, every single day, I had to push the recliner in, like, against the fridge, and I had to push the coffee table into the piano. Like, every single day before doing a workout, I had to move furniture because otherwise I didn't have the space. But every single day, didn't matter if it was 5 a.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever, every single day I moved that furniture to give myself a yoga mat space in order to work out. So anything is possible if you are like, if you ask how can I make this work, you'll figure it out.
It's a decision, y'all. It's really a decision, is what it is. Everybody's life got complications. Everybody got stuff that's limiting them. Everybody got difficult schedules. Everybody got kids. Everybody got depression. Everybody got anxiety. Like, pretty much everybody got one or two or three or four of those things going on at the same time. So why is it that some people thrive and some people don't? It's not because they have superpowers and they're somehow better than you. That's not why that happens. It happens because one person made a decision and another person didn't. That's it. That's literally it. There's no other defining factor in how someone gets to succeed versus some other person doesn't get to succeed. It's not because they're better than you are, more gifted, more blessed, more things in their alignment. It's because they made a decision. That's it. That's it.
Yep. I cannot tell you how many times I have heard people say to me, I wish I could do what you're doing, living on the road, being a nomad. I wish I could do that, but I don't have whatever. I don't have money. Mm-hmm. I don't have whatever. Let me tell you something. When I started this, I had a couple $100s in the bank. That was it. Mm-hmm. I had barely enough to get me through a fucking week, guys. And I sold all my shit and left. I didn't have a car. How do you live a fucking nomadic life without a vehicle? I did not have one. Right? And so, but that didn't stop me. I was like, this is what I want. This is what I feel called to do. And it's gonna fucking work out. I trusted. I knew that if I had this desire to do it and it was that strong of an intuitive hit, then it had to work out. And so when we say to you that your desires are there for a reason, like your desires are there for a reason. If you have a desire for something, then fucking do it. Drop the excuses. If you need help with limiting beliefs, do it. But like, stop being a victim. You're not a fucking victim.
Yep. I just want to shout out to my tattoo, which is currently covered. The phrase, the obstacle is the way, that is such a powerful phrase for me. And it has been one of the most liberating things that I have really meditated on for this year, which is why it ended up being a tattoo. You guys, oftentimes the very thing that you feel limits you and keeps you from being able to do something is the actual thing that is going to propel you to do the thing that you think you cannot do. There's so much power in your obstacle if you just see it as a way through instead of the way that's in your way, the thing that is in your way. When you learn to navigate your obstacles and you learn to do something anyways, your sense of integrity goes so high. You develop a self-respect that you didn't have before because you witness yourself do something really challenging and move above it. You witness yourself progress through something that seems nearly impossible and move above it. And when you see yourself do that, your self-appreciation literally explodes. Which is why when I look in the mirror now and I see my body, I feel an overwhelming amount of love and appreciation. Not because she looks a specific way, but because I know what I did to get to where I am. I know how much effort I gave to get to where I am. And I value myself so deeply for having had the kind of courage to be that consistent and to show up for myself the way that I did every day. Because I know that I have this feeling of intense love for myself because I was able to do that. And that's what happens when you don't let obstacles be the thing in your way. And instead you say, this story of mine that right now is an obstacle, it is my gift. It is my opportunity to move through it, to see it as the way instead of seeing it in my way. And then the next thing will happen is that when you survive that and you move through it, people will come into your life that need your wisdom. People will come into your life who are living similar circumstances as you. And guess what? You'll be able to look at them and say, you know what? I believe that you can do this because I did it. Because that's the way of the world. We are here to serve. Whether or not we're in a leadership role, Whether or not we know that we're a leader, we came here to serve that way, to serve each other through relationship. So as we navigate the things that are challenging for us, through our experience and our courage and our wisdom, we cultivate this ability to then pass it on and share it with others who are coming in contact with us constantly. And that is beauty. And that is peace and power and relationship and the power of that. And this is what you can get out of obstacle. This is what can be born from obstacle if you allow yourself to see the obstacle as the way instead of in the way.
100%. I was just reading Anna's comment.
Yeah, I'm also reading that.
Yeah, I mean, Anna, showing up for yourself is where it all begins. Like, because everything else in your life stems from how you show up from yourself, for yourself. So your relationships with your partner and your children are going to reflect back to you your relationship with yourself. 100%.
I love that you use the phrase choose me. That's so good. That's so good. I just need to choose me. Yes, you do, girl. Yes, you do. And everybody else watching this video, yes, you do. You need to choose you, because you don't choose you by default. And I think that's the problem with our mentalities, because we're with ourselves day in and day out. We're like, what you mean I need to choose me? I'm with me all the time. No, you're just on autopilot. The majority of us are just operating on autopilot. We don't consciously choose ourselves the way we really should be on a daily basis. And as Anne just said, whether or not you're choosing yourself is dictating how the rest of your life goes. It's automatically going to dictate how your relationships go, how your jobs go, how circumstances align or don't align in your reality. You need to choose you so that you can choose the rest of your life as well. Like all that.
Yeah, we so often we think that things happen to us, or like I was just talking to a friend earlier tonight, and we were talking about their job, and I finally asked, like, where's your power? Where is your power? You know, because, and this is not just with job, but anything in your life that you feel like is making you feel unhappy, nothing is making you feel anything. That is a choice that you are making. That is a choice that you are making. So if you get to a point where you feel like something is making you feel a certain way, ask yourself, where is my power? What have I given my power to? And how do I take my power back? Right? Because you are in control. Oh, you are in control of your thoughts. You are in control of your feelings. It's just that sometimes we forget that. Right? Absolutely. That's the human experience. Sometimes we forget that.
Yeah. And Anna, I'm like reading your comment. I have all the feels reading your comment, because it is listen to me when I say this, you guys. Really listen to me when I say this. It's very convenient and strategic that you believe that taking care of yourself is selfish. It's very strategic and very convenient that we believe that taking care of ourselves is selfish. Because if we believe that, then we easily give away our power to someone else or something else or a group of someone else's, who will then tell us what to do with ourselves. Okay? Yep. That's why it is so convenient that we think choosing ourselves is selfish. That has been programmed into our minds from many institutions, a lot of them religious, because that's the history of a lot of them, super dogmatic, that choosing yourself over other things is selfish. That's very convenient, because by default, that strips you of your power. Because a person who chooses themselves is an empowered person. And an empowered person makes empowered choices and doesn't let their minds be controlled by other things and other beings. So remember that is super, super strategic. And that when you claim yourself, you are detaching yourself from that thread of consciousness and that story.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I always tell my clients to be selfish. We've been taught that selfish is a bad thing, is a negative thing.
Yep.
Being selfish just basically means that you're being full of yourself in a positive way,
Yep.
right? Like you have filled yourself with everything that you need, and it does become very empowering when you realize how much control you really have over your own life, right? Like when you really take care of yourself and you really show up for yourself, you realize how much power you really have in your own life. And then you stop living a life of fear, right? Because if you feel like a victim and you feel like your power is in someone else's hands, then you're powerless, right?
Yep.
If you're powerless, then you can't, then you have this perception that you can't control anything else that happens in your life, and you're just at the mercy of everyone else. So you're at this mercy of this God that we've been taught who punishes us, right? Judges and punishes us, which is not true. So yeah, I mean, when that changed in my perception, I was like, man, anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Yep. And let me ask you guys a question. How do you imagine that you can choose another person, a partner, a child, if you don't even know how to choose yourself? The very first relationship you came onto this planet with, which is a relationship to yourself. As long as you don't know how to choose yourself, you can't really fully choose other people. That's not possible. Because everything in every other way you relate to another person is all conditional. Like, super conditional. And it's all based on some form of codependency. But when you know how to fully choose yourself, you can then fully choose other people in your life, like your lovers and your children. And you liberate each other from codependent behavior. Because you know how to honor yourself, you therefore know how to honor other people. Because you know what it's like to be an empowered sovereign being, you let other beings be empowered and sovereign. And this is how we free each other. This is how we free each other. And this is the way. This is literally the way that we take care of each other and free each other.
So this is like the exact topic that was at my service yesterday. So I like to go to different Unity churches wherever I am. It helps keep me spiritually grounded wherever I am. And so I went to the Unity Church in Phoenix yesterday, and the minister was talking. He basically had this visual, right, of a green circle, a yellow circle, and a red circle. And the green circle was like full, the yellow circle was like halfway full, and the red circle was like maybe a quarter of the way full, right? And he was sharing that like these are examples of like when we're full of love versus when we're not. And he was like, so when you're the green, right, and you're full of love and you're overflowing, which is exactly what Shakti was saying, right? When you are so full of love that you are overflowing, anything that is overflowing, you can't help but give it to other people. Because you have more than enough, so you're just like, you're like fucking Oprah Winfrey with your love. Like, and you get some love, and you get some love, and you get some love. Like, everyone gets fucking love, right? But then, and then with the yellow, if you're like half full of love, but like half feeling empty, then you feel like you have to make a choice, right? You're like discerning like who is worthy of my love and who's not, because otherwise I feel like I have to hold on to it. Otherwise I don't have any, right? And then if you're in the red with like a quarter, maybe even less, he's like, that's when you're in crisis mode. And when we're in crisis mode, we are not only are we judgmental, that's when judgment comes in. If you're judging other people, you have no fucking love and you are in crisis mode. Like, you need to fucking reconsider what's going on in your life. And on top of that, when you're in crisis mode, it's not even a matter of like deciding like who's worthy of my love, but you start to resent people. You start to resent people who you feel like, hold on a minute, I gave you everything I had, right? And you start to like those guilt trips, right? I gave you everything I had. I gave you the best years of my life. I gave you this. I gave you that. And why did we do that? To fucking receive love, because we are fucking empty and don't have love because we haven't given it to ourselves. And he's like preaching, and I'm like, preach. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this is like everything we talk about. It's like, yes.
Yes. resentment. We resent our partners. Here, you know what? I'm gonna bring something up right now. I'm about to start some shit because I'm feeling it. I'm about to start something. And hear me out. Women who are married to men. Okay? We about to go there. We about to go there right now. Okay? So many women, and I see these memes online all the time. So many women be like, why my husband on his day off gets a day off? Meanwhile, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do the other thing. And all these other women on the memes like, ain't that true? That's so true. Blah, blah, blah. Trash on their partners. Why men get days off? Why we don't get days off? And I'm like, hold the fucking phone. Because instead of being mad at them, we should be taking notes from them. And here's why. Because men are programmed to own whatever the fuck they want. They are told from the time they are children that they can have whatever they want. And they believe it. Not their fault. They were told that. They believe it. So they go out into the world and claim whatever they want, like a fucking day off. They claim that shit. Meanwhile, we're over here not claiming what we want, letting everything else be more important than us. And then we're watching them have a day off like, why the fuck do you get a day off? And we get all mad. We get all in our feels about the fact that they have a day off. Don't get mad at them because they're claiming they're good. Take a fucking hint and claim yours. And you know what? I was that person. I would get resentful. Why does my husband get to come home and lay down? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to come home and lay down too. And you know what? When something doesn't get done, guess what? You got 2 hands and 2 feet. You could do it too. And you know what? My husband doesn't say a word to me. He doesn't. He doesn't say a word. You know what? I was putting that expectation on myself. That I had to keep everything together. That I had to always have all the food done. That I had to do all the cleaning. That I had to take care of the... I was doing that to myself. He didn't have an expectation on me. I did. And I wasn't claiming my good. And I was sitting there resenting him because he's claiming his good like he doesn't deserve to chill too. Yeah, he does deserve to chill. And so do I. So I took a freaking hint. And I advise all of you watching this to do this. Okay, here we go. I hire a sitter for my days off. Oh, good for you. Good for you, girl. Good for you. That's you claiming you're good. That's you. Because see, as women, we need to get more empowered. We need to stop being resentful that our husbands know how to take a fucking day off. And we need to start doing that. We need to take notes. They're just showing us what's possible for us. And we're just processing it the fucking wrong way. Why? Because we're not taking care of ourselves. Because we're not consistently honoring ourselves. And so we're on empty. And then we get resentful when someone else seems to be taking care of themselves just fine. That's why we get resentful.
I'm going to take
That's why we get resentful.
I'm going to take it one step further. So if I'm gonna take Shakti's and I'm gonna ante up. So we also see that when people say that to fucking business owners, right? Like, oh, must be nice to live that life. Well, you know fucking what? I chose this life. So instead of getting pissed off about people traveling or having a lot of money or having a lot of freedom, that's your fucking choice too. You can make that choice too. If you want that life, you get that life.
No one's telling you can't have that. No one's telling you can't have that. No one's telling you can't have anything. Anything. You can have anything you want. Problem is we're so busy not being consistent with taking care of ourselves that we're depleted and we're running around the world living depleted lives, complaining about how depleted we are, talking about how we don't have enough time, talking about how everything hurts, talking about how our husbands suck, talking about, like, literally we beat the drum of despair so fucking much. If we would use the same energy that we do to talk shit to put it into good use, we'd be fucking amazing. Like, every single one would just be super sane light beings by now. We would have completely left our human form if we used the same amount of energy that we do to gossip and shit talk into something productive. I'm fucking convinced.
Yep. So I was watching this video with Joe Dispenza today, and I shared it on my coaching page. And I shared it on my personal page too. So go check it out. But one of the things that he talked about near the end was about, changing our mindset, right? In order to change our mindset, to change our emotions, in order to change our lives. And so he had specific questions for us to ponder, to really look at what is it that we are thinking on a regular basis, right? And one of the things that he said was to ask yourself, what thoughts do I need to stop thinking? Period. What thought, so if you can, after listening to this podcast, right, and really letting it sink in, I bet there are things right now that you're like, oh shit, yep, I say that shit all the time. I bitch about that all the time. I harp on that all the time. I'm negative about this. What are those things? Start listing them out, because what he was saying was that when you list out those thoughts and you can see them, it's just like in meditation, right? When you can observe your thoughts, you realize you are not your thoughts. When you observe your thoughts and realize you are not your thoughts, then you can change your thoughts. So list out, what thoughts do I need to stop thinking? And once you have them listed out, then the next time that thought pops up, you can be like, oh, wait a second, that's not a thought I want to create. That's not a thought that benefits me. That thought is not helpful.
Absolutely. I'm just responding to Anna really quick.
That's
Anna
it.
and I can both talk to you about whatever you need. I mean, we use such simple systems when it comes to nutrition and fitness that can be done anywhere, anytime, small spaces, doesn't matter. We've both done it. I made it work. We are living freaking proof that we can help you with that.
Yep.
So reach out to either one of us. We're both happy to help you. We use the same things, we do the same things, and we know it works. And one of the reasons we're so passionate about the systems we use when it comes to nutrition and fitness is because they're so simple. They were designed for busy lives. They were designed for people with a lot of responsibilities who still want to be healthy and still want to stay on track, but they have a lot of things going on in their life. And so that's why the company that we paired with, which is Beachbody, created what they created, because they know people are busy. Not everybody has time to go to the gym, or not everybody has resources to go to the gym, or not everybody is really good at meal prepping. Some people need really rudimentary understanding of nutrition. So let's make something that's really simple to use for them.
Yep.
And that's why we love what we do, because it's so simple.
And Anna, you said, I just got to your comment. I know nutritionally I'm depleted. I need help. Is there an easy way with RV living? I will tell you that one of the deals that I made with myself, this is a commitment that I made to myself. I've been wanting to travel for years. I've been on the road now for a little over a year. I hit my year anniversary at the end of July. But I've been wanting to travel for years. And the one thing that I told myself before I did this was, if I want to travel more, if I really want to live a life on the road, then I have got to commit and be consistent and really stick with my healthy lifestyle. So working out was never really a problem for me. Like, now I've been doing it for 4.5 years, so it's just a habit. Like, getting up and working out every morning is just what I do. I don't even have to think twice about it. The nutrition for me is something that I always struggled with, because I have a history of emotional eating and emotional drinking. And so that was like the biggest piece for me that I had to really look at. And what I found triggered me when I started living on the road was that it felt like vacation, right? Oh, I'm living on the road, so therefore I'm on vacation. Well, many of you who are on vacation know how you treat vacation. Everything goes out the window. You overeat, you overindulge, you eat sweets, you eat dessert every night, whatever it is. Like, you're overdoing everything. And so when I go to new places, because I travel from place to place, and I want to be present and I want to experience what the cities have to offer, but I also want to treat my body in a loving way. So I tell myself, it's not that I can't have treats, right? But it's that I need to really allow myself treats at certain times, but not from an emotional space. I need to be able to enjoy it and then move on. So that's something that I've really, I would say recently really nailed down, and it feels very good. I'm not perfect with my emotional eating by any means, but I'm way more aware than I've ever been in my entire life. And I go out and I enjoy a donut or I enjoy a gelato, but I don't enjoy it every single night, and I don't overeat it. I'll have like one donut a week and be done, so. Yeah.
Yep. Amen.
Yeah, I mean that's a big one. That was a big one that I had to work through, right? Because it is like when you think that your life is a vacation, which is what we want, right? Like we all want to live this life that feels like vacation. We all want to live this life that feels like retirement. Well, that's great, but how do you do that in a loving way that where you're not self-sabotaging?
Right. Totally. Totally.
And Anna, there's also a way to do fast and easy that's not unhealthy. Everything I eat is fast and easy. I do a lot of like salads, chicken salad, fruit, carrots and hummus. I'll do hard boiled eggs. Like I'll do oatmeal and stuff, but I'm not always guaranteed to have like a full kitchen. So I was in Western North Carolina for 2.5 months, and all of my meals were cooked in an electric griddle. Like that's all I had. I didn't have a full kitchen. So there's always a way to make it work if that's what you're committed to.
Yep. You can, you know, and depending on where you are, you can eat more raw foods, you know, or more cooked foods, or sometimes, like, honestly, when I'm out, making choices to stay consistent with my nutrition just means making really simple things. Like, I just don't eat carbs in the evening because it doesn't feel good in my body. So maybe I don't have exactly the food that I want to eat for dinner or for lunch, but I'm just more mindful of reducing the things that I know make me feel bloated. Not eating so much salt in my food because I know that makes me feel bloated. Not eating so much carbs because I know that really slows me down and makes me feel sluggish. If I can only access things like fruit and baby carrots or hummus or things, and I reach for that. So once you start this practice of getting to know yourself and being consistent, you figure out a way to make it work. And that's the thing, you guys, is like a lot of you guys are afraid of jumping in because you haven't figured it all out. And what you don't understand is that you figure out consistency in the process. You figure out ways to make this work when you're in it. You don't figure it out before because you don't have the incentive before. You need to be in the process to then figure it out. And we don't give ourselves the opportunity to do that. And so then we psych ourselves out.
Yeah, it's this perfectionist mentality that if I can't be perfect, then I don't want to do it at all. And like the personal growth process is messy. It just is. You know, it takes time, it takes tweaking. And the reason many of us feel this need to be perfect in some way, shape, or form, right? Like either perfect or not at all, is because you have been taught, not intentionally, but taught as children that in order to receive love, you had to fit in some certain mold, right? Yep. And when you start giving love to yourself, then you have grace with yourself when you're not perfect, because you're not meant to be perfect. You're not perfect. It's not going to be perfect. None of it's going to be perfect. But what happens is that in the imperfections, in the so-called failures, you learn, right? So this is another thing we hear, like, well, I don't want to do it because I don't want to fail. Well, failure is not actually a thing. Failure is a lesson. And if you fail to the point where you quit, well, then that's just quitting. That's not failing. So failure is always a way to learn more.
Yep.
I mean, Shakti and I have failed a lot in our lives, and we've learned a shit ton. Like, even on our fitness journey, I have failed a ton. And each time I learn a little bit more.
It's just so common for me to see that, even with like people who want to join the business as, you know, as coaches. They're like, well, I don't know how to do that, and I've never done anything like that, so I need to figure all that out first and then do it. I'm like, no, that's not how that works. Like, you can't actually learn how to run this business if you're not in the business. Like, there's no tools for you to figure that out beforehand, because it's after you start that you get all the tools, that you get the training, that you get the relationship with the team, that you get all the things to help you figure it out. Figuring it out before, it's like, what is this like? It's like, I'm gonna figure out how to be a mom first and then have a kid. That's a fucking joke.
Good luck.
That's a fucking joke. I don't care how many baby books you read till the cows come home. You will never know what it's like to be a parent until you're a parent. And then you're like, none of those books made sense. That's how I felt with my kid. I was like, it's true.
It's true though, because I mean, I felt the same way as a teacher, right? Like I was great in school. I like knew all my shit, right? So I was like, this is gonna be amazing. I even with my internship, right? Like I had actual practice in the classroom. Let me tell you a little story. So I, went through school, got my master's in early childhood, had an internship, did really well in that, and then I had my first year teaching, right? My first day of teaching, and I had everything planned out. I knew what songs we were going to sing. I knew what activities we were going to do. Like I had everything. You love this story. I had everything planned out, and I was like feeling confident as fuck, like so confident walking in the first day of school. Nothing went as planned. Nothing went as planned because children aren't predictable, right? So I like had this activity where I had students like coloring and saying what they had done over the summer. This is their first grade. What did you do over the summer? Then they came up and shared. One kid eventually basically said that his brother got eaten by a shark. Couldn't fucking predict that. And then we started singing songs I was like super pumped about. I had one kid like basically doing somersaults in the back of the class saying singing is for babies. And I'm like, you're in fucking first grade. Like, I mean, nothing. That was not in the textbooks, guys. Not in the textbooks. But like, and I felt like a failure. I remember at lunch, I met my friend in the hallway. I brought her into the school too, poor thing. So we met in the hallway and we hugged and started crying. And I was like, have I made a mistake? Am I not supposed to be a teacher? And like, and I was a really great teacher, but I wouldn't have known it the first day of school. I felt like the worst teacher in the world. But like, I had to get practice. I just had to get in there and fail and fail and fail to learn what worked, and then I became a really fucking good teacher.
A freaking man. Amen. I can relate to that as a mom. I felt like a horrible mom for like ever. Some days I still feel that way. But I see my child interact with other children, and I'm like, he's just so mature and so confident, and I'm like, I did a really good job with that one. So chill. He's so good.
He is so good.
It's like, thank you, teacher.
He is. Shakti will reach out to you and be like, have I fucked him up? I'm like, no, girl, he's really good. Like you done a good job.
Thank you. Because that's the thing. It's like when we're starting something, I think we just psych ourselves out so much. We want everything to be perfect. We have this all or nothing mentality. We're like, I don't know how I'm going to be consistent now, so I'm just not going to start until I can figure out how I'm going to be consistent. And you guys, your wings are built literally as you're flying down. Like that's how you figure it out when you're to the fire and you're like, okay, I've got to figure this out for me. That's when you figure it out. And there's not enough words of encouragement I can give someone before they join our workout warrior community or before they join our team to make them know, like, you can do this, like you can do this. You've just got to decide that you're going to be willing to figure it out. And if there's one thing I know we all have the capacity to do is figure shit out.
Yep.
We all have the capacity to figure shit out. We didn't know we were doing before we became parents. We didn't know how to ride a bike before we didn't know how to ride a bike. We didn't know how to use a toilet before we knew how to use a toilet. Like, we didn't know how to walk before we knew how to walk. Like, babies figure shit out because they're wired to. They don't just quit when they start walking and they fall. Like, guess I'm never gonna fucking walk. No, they just keep getting up until they walk. We are wired to figure things out. We've just forgotten how to trust our ability to do that. And so then when we're presented with something new, we like panic and we're like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. It's like, no, you were programmed to try things and fail and continue. Like, you were programmed for that. You were wired for that. And if you just keep doing it, you will be successful at it because you're also wired to succeed. You just are.
Yep.
Because that's our priority as children. Like, we are wired to grow, to stand up. First of all, to figure out that we can stand on our two legs and we've got balance, and then to walk. And, it's amazing if you just observe children, how much confidence they have in their ability to do shit. And then you look at us and we're all like terrified of fucking doing things. You're like, how did that happen? Like, you're literally 12 months old and have more confidence than I do. Like, I'm 30. You know what I mean? Like,
children are so confident. They are so confident.
Yeah.
And it's true. Like, one thing that I have always known about myself is that I will figure it out, you know? And so I had a lot of people doubting and questioning and asking me all kinds of stuff and putting their own fears and worries and anxiety on me before I left last year. And I was just like, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out. And you know what? It has not gone smoothly. Let me tell you, the last year has not gone smoothly, but I'm still alive. So clearly I have figured it out. Like I didn't die, so clearly I'm nailing life. Like that's how I'm like really measuring everything. I'm like, still alive? Good. I've succeeded.
Still here? Good. I'm doing the right thing.
Yep.
Doing the right thing.
You know, if it feels good, if it still feels in alignment, and I haven't died, then clearly I'm on the right path.
Must be. Facts. Facts. Yeah, I mean, this conversation got like really deep really fast, which we suspected that was going to be the case. But ultimately, everything comes down to your willingness to be consistent, like literally at anything, you know, anything, whether it's learning how to be a better parent to your kid, you know, learning to speak your kid's language and like figuring out how to parent them better, or learning how to nourish your body because you've never really known how to nourish your body, or how to move your body because you've never really known how to do that, or how to build a business because you never really built a business. You know, no matter what it is in your life, if you have the desire for it, there's a reason you have that desire. It was put in your heart for a reason, and it is yours to develop. It is yours to see through. You've just got to make the decision that you are willing to figure it out. And then allow yourself the experience of learning.
Yeah.
Allow yourself to learn. Allow yourself to grow. Allow yourself to become different. And this is something, you guys, that I want you to hear, because this has really been, I've been channeling this hard. When you think about the person that you aspire to be, the you that you're like, man, she's got her shit together. You know, when you think about you in that ideal self, understand that for you to be there, for you to be her, for you to be him, for you to be living that life, you've got to become different than you are right now. You don't get that life as the same person you are in this moment. You are literally being called to become better and better, different and different. Evolve into the kind of person who has that life. It requires that you become different than you are to have the life that you want, no matter what that life is, no matter what the aspiration is, or what the goal is. You've got to become the kind of person that has that life. So remember that when you're taking a chance, and when you're saying yes to yourself, and when you're choosing to be consistent, you are saying yes to getting closer and closer to that person that you know you are. Deep down, you're getting closer and closer to that person that is that form of yourself that you have in your mind, living that life that you know is yours to live. That's what you're choosing. You're choosing yourself daily with your consistency over and over again.
And I just want to add this last thing, that to do anything on your own, anything, to make that decision to become a different person on your own is like having this uphill battle, because you're going to hit brick walls. You're going to hit limiting beliefs. You're going to hit upper limits. And if it's just you with no support system whatsoever, it is really easy to give up, because let's be honest, who knows if you meditated that day? Who knows if you worked out that day? Who knows if you ate that donut or ice cream that day? And so you give into that, and then you beat yourself up, and it becomes this vicious cycle, because you don't have the accountability and you don't have the support, and no one is helping to guide you through it. So if this is something that you feel called to change in your life and you're trying to do it on your own, I would invite you to reconsider that. No one who has succeeded at anything has done it on their own. And what just came up for me as I was listening to a Gary Vee, I don't listen to Gary Vee a whole lot anymore, but I was listening to a Gary Vee video maybe like a month ago, and he was saying that he got really fucking consistent in his self-care, like in his working out. He hired a personal trainer. Now you look at someone like Gary Vee, who has his shit together. Like, he's a very successful man. right? But he hired a personal trainer because he needed someone who was going to hold him accountable for what it was that he said he needed to do, right? So and changing anything in your life, yeah, it's really unfamiliar and uncomfortable. I don't want to say it's hard, but it's unfamiliar and it's really uncomfortable. And when we experience discomfort, it's really easy to back down and say, I guess I don't really want it that bad. It's fine. And then you don't live your dreams.
Yep. And that's why we have a fitness accountability group. That's why we have a coach team. That's why I'm so big on groups, because I was a lone wolf for a huge part of my life, and I believe that was the way. And I've learned that I was really inconsistent most of my life because I didn't have community to see me, for me to borrow their belief in me when I was struggling. I didn't have people to help me up level when I was struggling. I was trying to do it all on my own, and I couldn't because I wasn't there. I wasn't the kind of person I needed to be to up level. So what I was missing was a community component to see me as that person and help me up level with their collective energy. That's why accountability is so powerful, and that's why it works. That's why I've become a version of myself I only ever saw in a dream, to be really honest with you guys, both physically and mentally in all ways, because I've had these amazing souls to grow with, to grow alongside people like Anne, who are not only like a dear friend of mine, but in my coach community, in my fitness community that I see every day showing up for herself, inspires me to show up for myself. This is what we get to do together. This is the work, you know? So when we invite you guys to join our fitness community, or we invite you guys to join our coach team, we see something in you that is resonant with what we have. And we know that you coming in will give you an experience that you haven't had yet. And we are offering you our belief for you to lean on while you build your own. We know that you don't have the belief yet. We know that because we were you once upon a time. But we have the belief because we have walked the path. So we are allowing you to borrow our belief while you build your own and come into a community that will help you build it with you.
Yep.
You know, that's what we're doing.
Yep. And when we hear people say, not right now because life is really busy, let me tell you, you saying life is busy, is that right there, that excuse right there is why you're not consistent. Right there.
Yep.
So if you're saying that you can't do it because your life is too busy, that means you need the community that much more. That means you need to say yes that much more, because you saying you're too fucking busy is exactly why you're not consistent.
Amen.
And on that note, we can just keep going. So on that note, we're going to end it. But if this has resonated with you, if you're not already part of our community, I know we have a lot of people on here who are, but if you're not already part of our community, reach out to us. One of us, we both do the same thing. And we'd be more than happy to talk to you about how to join our community, whether it is the Workout Warriors or through our actual team.
We love you guys. Have a good night.
All right. Talk to you guys later.